Hey, York Alliance. Well, things keep changing. Thanks for tuning in to this YouTube channel and all of these video updates as we navigate all of the changes that are happening around us over the last 24 to 48 hours. These are really uncharted waters. I realized yesterday as I was thinking about how uncertain everything feels right now that I've never pastored a church through a pandemic before, and you've probably never lived through one before. And so we're all kind of navigating this together, so thanks for giving us grace as we make decisions along the way. The York Alliance pastoral staff and elders met first thing this morning until about an hour and a half ago, and together we processed all that's happened around us for the last 24 to 48 hours. We prayed together and discussed, and at the end of all of that, we've made the determination that the best thing for us to do is to go to online worship gatherings for at least the next 2 weeks. We'll continue to have a live worship band, and we'll continue to have that worship gathering at 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, but you'll be able to access that through the live stream on this YouTube channel. So first, let me speak to a couple logistics about that, and then maybe give you a couple general thoughts in terms of how we navigate all of this. First of all, from a logistical perspective, we want to really encourage you to gather together as you worship over these next couple weeks. In small groups from around your neighborhood or your community, other believers from York Alliance, maybe other believers in your community whose churches have been canceled. Gather around your TV or around your computer monitor, worship together, give, process the word, respond, and when the worship gathering's done, have lunch together, enjoy time with one another. It's also a great opportunity to invite friends, neighbors, family members who maybe wouldn't typically come to a Sunday morning worship gathering. As we go through these uncertain times, invite them into your Sunday morning routine, albeit not here at York Alliance, but in your living room. Invite them in and invite them into a community that can navigate this time with them. You probably have lots of questions about other corporate events, other things that are happening, and you'll continue to hear updates day by day and week by week as we make decisions about one event after another. For tonight, many of you are part of the delicious donations dinner run by our student ministries, and we've made the decision for that dinner to continue, but for it to continue as a drive-through only event. And so you'll be able to pick up your meals at the time that you were originally signed up to be there, and you'll be able to enjoy those at home. We'd love to encourage you, if you are coming together with a group, to invite them back to your house and eat together, to connect in the ways that you would have connected, just again, not here with this larger corporate gathering. There'll be more information coming out from Pastor Jonas about that event, as well as about future events. We know for certain that our Wednesday night gatherings will not be as they were typically scheduled, but we will likely have opportunities to connect in other ways in smaller gatherings. I want to encourage you to stay connected during this time, and that leads me into some of the general thoughts about all that's happening. First of all, can I encourage you to not stop connecting with one another through this time? One of the big negatives to American society is we tend to be very individualistic and we tend to isolate, especially at times of stress and anxiety. But we're really called to care for one another. As if on cue, the daily office reading for this morning was from Colossians chapter 3. I'll encourage you to go and read through that entire chapter on your own. But the specific aspect of Colossians 3 was inviting us to care for one another, to love one another, to walk with one another. And all of those one another commands, they require us to be connected. And so can I encourage you? Stay connected to one another. Call, text, gather together in small groups of people. We don't need to be driven by fear, but we should be driven by love. In fact, the Apostle John says, perfect love drives out all fear. And so don't give in to the voices of fear that say to isolate and stay separate, but instead stay connected to one another through this time. The next thing I want to say is that we are not, and cannot be talking about canceling church. Because church never was and never will be about this particular building or a specific time of worship. The church is and will be you, the people of God, gathering together as the people of God. So can I encourage you during this time? We should be the church more now than ever. So be connected to one another. And don't think of church as being canceled. Think of church as being transformed, moved out into the community, and us having the opportunity to be the church all over York County. Can I encourage you to press into that? Some of you will maybe say that this is a bit of an overreaction. And can I be honest with you? It very well might be. As we gathered around the table with pastors and elders, we recognize that none of us are medical professionals. So we're taking the best information that we have. And that information right now says that by eliminating large-scale gatherings, we lessen the likelihood of this virus spreading, and we give the medical community a chance to catch up and hopefully be able to care well for those who are infected with the virus as it spreads. One of our values is the shalom of the city. It's taken from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7, that we would pray for and be a part of the blessing and the peace of the community around us. Right now, the best way that we can bless our community is by submitting to the ruling authorities over us and not having large gatherings that unnecessarily risk the spread of this virus. And so I would encourage you to do the same thing, to be a blessing in this community by serving the needs of those around you. And if that means not gathering together in large groups, by being willing to do that. Let me reiterate something from the first video as well. This is an opportunity that's being given to us, maybe forced upon us, to slow down. Many of us have lives that are far too busy, and this is an opportunity to breathe. Trips are being canceled, events are being postponed, and it's an opportunity for us to be able to value the people around us and to really press into our relationship with Jesus. I've heard lots of people talking about being able to catch up on their queue from Netflix or catching up on the latest series. Can I encourage you, maybe in addition to that, but far more importantly than that, to take this time and this opportunity to reconnect in your heart with the Lord and to connect with those around you. There are probably lots more questions that you have, and there's lots more communication that's going to be happening over the next couple weeks. Let me encourage you, plug in at 10:30 tomorrow morning for our worship gathering, and we'll look at together what it means for us to be the church during times like this. There'll be more communication coming on this YouTube channel as well as through email and on our website at yorkalliance.org. Let me end this morning with a quote from Martin Luther. Many of you maybe have seen this over the last several days. Luther navigated the season during the Black Plague, and during that time he commented on how he would handle the spread of that disease. He said this, "I shall ask God mercifully to protect us. Then I shall fumigate, help purify the air, administer medicine, and take it. I shall avoid places and persons where my presence is not needed, in order not to become contaminated, and thus perchance inflict and pollute others, and so cause their death as a result of my negligence. If God should wish to take me, he will surely find me. And I have done what he has expected of me, so I'm not responsible for either my own death or the death of others. But if my neighbor needs me, I shall not avoid place or person, but will go freely, as stated above. See this as such a God-fearing faith, because it's neither brash nor foolhardy." I think that's the balance that we're called to walk during these days, to not be foolish and to avoid places where our presence is not needed, but to press in, especially with our neighbors and friends in the community around us where our presence is needed. And so let me encourage you, be wise. Submit to the ruling authorities that are over us, whether you agree with them or not. Wash your hands. Wash your hands again. And then don't fail to love people the way that God loves people. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10:30 as we worship online together. Grace and peace.